With Vince McMahon and the WWF isolated against the new WCW and ECW alliance, a new twist was added to the InVasion angle last Thursday, with Vince asking Steve Austin to turn back babyface to bring back the old Stone Cold to lead the team into the InVasion pay-per-view, setting the stage for the follow-up tonight, with the show-long build-up to the moment starting already 2 minutes into the broadcast, with Austin shown drinking in referee Tim White's friendly tap bar 15 minutes from the Civic Center where Raw is taking place, with JR starting the hype as the voiceover for the next 2 hours, with massive hype for Austin's potential return, as after last Monday's Raw continued the show's rapid rebound to its most-watched show since April 23 with over 6.4 million viewers. 3 days later, SmackDown also saw its third straight week of viewership jump, climbing to over 6.3 million viewers for the show built around the follow-up of the reveal of the WCW and ECW alliance with an Angle and Taker vs. Shane and Paige main event, in addition to McMahon's attempt to bring the old Austin back, with Spike Dudley kicking off Raw being interrupted by Paul Heyman attempting to recruit him with the Dudleys back to ECW, ending up with the Dudleys coming out to confront Spike and set up the heat angle, with Bubba powerbombing Molly through a table, with Raw's growing interest across the board seeing the first quarter opening with a 4 rating in the first week to see the show opening already in the 4 rating range in over 2 months. After Vince McMahon's decision to change the last several months of planning for WCW as a separate brand, the consequences out of the change continued to be made clear in the past 2 weeks, with the WWF now not only having a huge roster of wrestlers after the WCW and ECW editions, but also a massive crew of staff members and road agents that were supposed to be part of the separate WCW road schedule. With perhaps the biggest change coming out of the cancellation was Vince dropping plans for SmackDown to be moved to Thursday from mid-August, coming just days after Linda McMahon officially announced it publicly, with the added reasoning of it going to help to boost SmackDown numbers with no spoilers from the usual Tuesday tapings, with Vince canceling the permanent move to tape the show on Thursdays to instead continue with the more convenient current scheduling of taping TV on back-to-back days on Monday and Tuesday, with the only 2 Thursday SmackDowns set to take place on August 16th and 23rd, with tickets already going on sale for the Thursday night tapings and what is additionally being expected to be hyped shows going in and coming off the SummerSlam pay-per-view. Raw picked up over 1 million viewers since the opening quarter throughout the first hour to close it with a 4.8 rating, first with an Edge vs Mike Awesome match going 4 minutes before 2 segments setting up major angles for later tonight, with Jericho confronting Booker backstage to lead to them setting up a WCW title match, followed by Vince driving to the bar in the final attempt to convince Austin to come back before driving back to the building. And after Eric Bischoff turned down the WWF offer last week to debut in time for the InVasion pay-per-view, Hulk Hogan, while on a public appearance in Canada, hyped his upcoming startup promotion with Universal Studios, with the first show set to take place in the next few months, as Hogan, who earlier in the year was in negotiations with McMahon on a potential return for a match at WrestleMania 17. Opened the door for a return, saying that Vince would offer him $50 million a year if he knew what he has planned to go against him with a new promotion potentially financially backed by Universal and Fox. Raw's biggest viewership spike of the night came at the top of the hour, with Booker T for the second week in a row after facing Kurt Angle last Monday, being placed in a high-profile title match at 10 p.m. against Chris Jericho, And unlike the first time ever match against Angle last week, the Booker vs Jericho match was the rematch of some early hour clashes 3 to 4 years ago, with both attempting to climb up the card during Nitro's peak run. This time wrestling for what was at that time unreachable, with 3 tiers of established top stars on the WCW roster in the way, going 8 minutes for the WCW World title to end with Jericho having the match won before Shane took out Earl Hebner to set up WCW's Nick Patrick, counting the fall for Booker to retain the title, continuing to build to the referees' clash at InVasion, with their brawls over the past week of television getting some of the biggest crowd reactions of the night, as the Booker vs Jericho match saw jumping over 900,000 viewers to a 5.5 rating. With the big angle of the night based around the return of babyface Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, after working as a top babyface for the first time in his career last Monday against Booker, with the crowd popping big for him by the end of the match, continued the transition tonight, with him now clearly being positioned for a top babyface run in the near future, showing a more aggressive side, with him taking out Raven in a hardcore match before running off members of the Alliance, with the crowd now fully pro Angle, with him adding a more serious side to his character after the recent comedic stuff with Austin and McMahon, with the InVasion angle seeing the WWF's 2 top heels in Austin and Angle at the start of it now both turned babyface to fight the Alliance, with the Angle vs Raven match in the quarter that also saw the Hardys against the Dudleys going 5 minutes, with RVD interfering for the finish to take out the Hardys, maintaining the big jump at the top of the hour with a 5.5 rating, with no quarter dropping below it for the rest of the night, with the full second hour averaging over 7 million viewers, making it the most watched hour of Raw since April 9th and one of its most watched hours in the TNN era overall. Perhaps the biggest selling point for the InVasion pay-per-view was next, with both groups giving the final speech to emphasize the importance of the show to the future of the industry, as with the WWF unable to promote individual dream matches that were expected out of the WWF vs WCW feud due to the lack of the top WCW headliners. The focus instead was on the brands, with Shane McMahon Vince and Taker hyping the pay-per-view on Sunday before WWF legend Freddie Blassie entered the room in a rare appearance to give the final selling promo for the event, saying that there comes a time when every man should fight for what he believes in and the time is now. Hyping up the room along with the watching Austin to see him leaving the bar at 10:43 p.m. with him 15 minutes away from the building, as the unique segment saw Raw doing its highest rated full quarter in months with a 5.6 rating and a strong sign for the InVasion pay-per-view in 6 days. With Austin still yet to arrive to the building, the Taker and Kane vs Page and Rhyno main event tag match, built as the InVasion Brawl preview, kicked off at 10:58 p.m. to go 4 minutes before members of WCW and ECW interfered to bring out the WWF locker room, followed by the rest of the Alliance, and with the WWF outnumbered all over the building after setting the stage for the moment since Thursday. And over the past 2 hours, Steve Austin arrived in the parking lot at 11:03 p.m. taking out anyone in his way before coming out moments later as the building erupted in a massive reaction to the return of the old Stone Cold, clearing the ring with Team WWF standing tall in the ring heading into InVasion in an all-time Raw highlight moment, with the 8-minute overrun peaking with a 5.8 rating in the highest rated segment on Raw in almost 3 months, with the over 7.4 million viewers at the peak making it the second most watched segment on Raw since April 9th, only behind the 7.6 million for the show closing angle of last Monday. heading into the InVasion pay-per-view with massive momentum as Raw, after almost dropping below the 4 rating range just a month ago, continued to pick up to jump back into the 5 rating range for the first time in almost 3 months, with the company, despite not getting the star power on the WCW side, through the strong angles of the past several weeks of TV, able to generate strong hype for the interpromotional pay-per-view on Sunday.